Gather close, my friend. Have you ever heard a story so real? It could have happened just down your street. This is Legends by the Fire, where African stories breathe again. Tonight's tale isn't just a folktale. It's a secret our ancestors left behind. I am Amara, and before all this happened, I thought I understood what it meant to work hard for success. I was 26 then, full of dreams, full of life, and maybe a little too eager to prove myself. I ran a small but growing fashion studio in Yaba, Lagos. Nothing fancy, just 2 sewing machines, 1 mirror, and a borrowed standing fan that groaned like an old man each time Nipa took light. My assistant, Ivy, was my best friend, lively, always filming everything for Instagram. She used to joke that one viral video was all we needed to blow. And truly, I believed it. I came from nothing. My mother was a primary school teacher in Enugu, and my father, may he rest in peace, drove a bus. When I moved to Lagos, I promised myself I'd make something beautiful, something people would wear and remember. But Lagos doesn't hand out success easily. Rent was due. Light bills piled up. I'd been losing clients because my fittings never looked quite right. The few mannequins I had were cheap plastic ones from Balagan Market, the kind that tilt awkwardly, like they're tired of standing. Then one morning, everything changed. It was a hot Wednesday. I remember because the power was out, and I was sweating through my blouse while hand-stitching a client's corset. Ivy rushed in, holding her phone. Amara, come and see how. One Baba in Sabo is selling off old mannequins from his late wife's boutique. Vintage style, original imported type. Vintage, imported? We didn't even finish lunch before heading there. The shop was an old corner space near Queen Street, filled with dust and half-broken sewing tables. A quiet old man, Mr. Adebayo, sat behind the counter. He told us his late wife, who had been a fashion designer in the 1980s, left everything behind. He was finally clearing it out. Then I saw her, a mannequin taller than any I'd ever seen, feminine, elegant, almost too real. The face wasn't blank like the usual plastic ones. It had features, cheekbones, faintly painted lips, even eyelashes that looked like human hair. The fingers were delicate, slightly curved, like they could actually hold fabric. I don't know why, but the moment I looked into its painted eyes, something inside me shivered. That one belonged to my wife's favorite model, Mr. Adebayo said softly. She used it to shape her bridal gowns. I asked how much. He smiled faintly. For you, young lady, just pay what your spirit allows. That should have been a warning. I paid 10,000 naira to cheap for something that perfect, and we carried it home in a khaki. From that day, things began to shift. When I dressed the mannequin in my first piece, a wine red evening gown, it fit perfectly, like it had been made for it. I took photos, posted them online, and the response was overwhelming. My page went from a few hundred followers to thousands overnight. Orders started coming in from Abuja, Port Harcourt, even Ghana. Ivy and I were screaming and dancing in the studio. Girl, your destiny just woke up, she shouted, waving her phone. I laughed too, but I couldn't shake the feeling that the mannequin was watching us. When I worked late at night, sometimes I'd glance at it under the flickering fluorescent light, and I'd swear its head had turned slightly. The glossy eyes seemed softer, alive. One night, during a thunderstorm, I woke up at home to hear my studio's alarm ringing through my phone. I rushed there, barefoot, rain-soaked, heart pounding. Nothing was stolen, nothing broken, except the mannequin was no longer wearing the gown I'd left on it. The dress was folded neatly on the table, and the mannequin stood bare, facing the window. I told myself maybe Ivy came in and forgot to mention it. But when I asked her, she swore she hadn't touched anything. Over the next weeks, the strange things continued. When I sewed near the mannequin, I'd hear faint whispers like someone humming a song behind me. Sometimes the thread on my machine tangled itself into perfect spiral shapes I couldn't replicate even on purpose. One morning, I arrived to find a brand new design pinned perfectly onto fabric not mine, not Ivy's. A gown with details far beyond my skill level. I was terrified, but also amazed. I finished it, took photos, and it became my best-selling piece. Soon, clients started saying my dresses felt alive. One woman even said she dreamt of a beautiful lady in a blue gown guiding her to my shop. A month later, a middle-aged woman walked into my studio. Elegant, quiet. She wore an old perfume that reminded me of my mother's wedding photos. "Good afternoon, my dear," she said. I used to own a shop in Sabo. Before I passed it on, I blinked. "Sorry, Ma. Did you say before you passed it on?" She smiled. "Yes, my husband must have sold you my mannequin." My heart froze. She touched the mannequin gently, her fingers trembling. Her name was Ngozi, my best model. She died in an accident before her wedding. I modeled my entire bridal line on her shape. She looked at me, then eyes soft, voice low. "Please, take care of her. She remembers everything she wore." I wanted to ask what she meant, but she had already walked out. When I ran to the door seconds later, she was gone. When I told Ivy, she laughed it off. "Babe, Abeg, you day watch too many Netflix series. It's just stress." But the more we worked, the stranger it got. Each time I designed a new gown, it was like the mannequin guided me, my hands moving faster than my mind. At night, in my dreams, I'd see a woman standing in front of a mirror wearing my dresses crying. I started keeping the mannequin covered at night. Still, I'd wake up to find the cover fallen to the floor. Then one day, Ivy ran into the studio screaming, "Amara, come." The mannequin moved. It had turned fully toward the mirror we both saw it. We ran out and didn't go back for hours. A few weeks later, Ijiro, one of my favorite clients, came in for a custom bridal piece. Handsome, calm, with the kind of smile that could melt even a stressed-out Lagos tailor. He picked the blue gown design, the one that had appeared by itself weeks earlier. When I fitted it on the mannequin, the air in the room shifted. Cold, heavy, the lights flickered, and for a moment, I thought I heard a woman whisper, "Finally, it fits." Ijiro smiled nervously. "Did you hear something?" I shook my head. "No, just the generator sound." But later, when he left, I noticed a faint tear in the gown shaped exactly like a handprint. That night, I dreamt of a wedding, a bride walking down the aisle, crying. When she lifted her veil, it was the mannequin's face. I couldn't take it anymore. I went to Mom and Ketchy, the older tailor next door. She was known to be prayerful, the kind of woman who sprinkled holy water on her tape measure. When she entered my studio, she stopped at the door and whispered, "Ah, this place smells of someone who never left." She told me the mannequin carried the spirit of the model who died before her wedding, still bound to the gown she never got to wear. The spirit, she said, had chosen me not to harm me, but to finish her story. Mom and Ketchy advised I make one final dress for her, a pure white gown, and place it on the mannequin. Overnight, that night, I sewed like my life depended on it. No electricity, no music, just the sound of rain and my needle. When I was done, I placed the gown on the mannequin and whispered, "Rest now. You've been beautiful enough." I covered her with white lace and left the studio. The next morning, the gown was gone. The mannequin stood completely bare, but this time, it looked different. Peaceful. The faint smile that wasn't there before seemed to glow. A few days later, Mr. Adebayo came by with tears in his eyes. "Last night, I dreamt of my wife," he said. "She was wearing a white gown and dancing with her model. That same week, my designs were featured in a Lagos fashion magazine. My shop finally became what I had always dreamed of, but I never used that mannequin again. I locked it in the storeroom covered, silent. Sometimes, when I walk past, I still feel her presence calm, like gratitude. And every new dress I make feels lighter, freer, as if someone, somewhere, is finally resting in beauty. It's been 3 years now. I run a successful brand, House of Amara, with clients across Africa. But I never forgot that mannequin or the strange way fate weaves through fabric. Whenever young designers ask me what my secret is, I smile and say, listen to your fabric. Sometimes the thread remembers more than we do. And when I close the studio late at night, I still whisper a quiet thank you, not to any god or ancestor, but to the woman who helped me find my gift, even from beyond. Because Lagos has many dreams buried under its streets. And sometimes those dreams find a way to dress themselves again. If this story touched your heart, imagine the ones still waiting to be told. Subscribe to Legends by the Fire, where every week, the past whispers through new stories.